Good morning, everyone. This is Aunt Beth. Welcome to my lamppost. So, I was driving home last night from the eclipse and asked the Lord what He wanted to talk to you about. And He said, everyday heroes. So I started thinking about everyday heroes and praying into that. And this poem came to mind from my childhood, so I'll try and recite that for you. For want of a nail, a shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, a horse was lost. For want of a horse, a message was lost. For want of a message, a battle was lost. For want of a battle, a war was lost. For want of a war, a kingdom was lost, and all for the want of a nail. And although that poem talks about the cumulative effect of the small, everyday things missing in action, I wanted to talk to you about the faithfulness of the everyday heroes. I think the reason the eclipse was so special was because it'll be like 21 years until the next one. And we can't live our lives from eclipse to eclipse. I mean, it was spectacular. It was solemn, it was majestic, it was unhurried. I was surprised that the wind picked up as it got dark. I mean, you couldn't really tell that it was dark because there was so much light, unless you had the special glasses and were looking at the sun. But the wind picked up and the birds started roosting in the trees instead of flying around and talking. But the reason that eclipse was so spectacular is because it was not ordinary, and we had the ordinary to compare it to. We can't live our lives from eclipse to eclipse. But every day the sun comes up. What a fabulous blessing that faithfulness is. And we live our lives, we count on it. You know, every day, every night, we have gravity. I mean, who appreciates gravity unless you're falling? But it's one of those quiet, faithful things that we count on. I was thinking about the quiet, faithful people when God said everyday heroes. You know, I know a few. I know an aunt who, when her career in the military was done, she didn't go off, and have a TikTok life living overseas and all this kind of stuff. She moved home next door to her sister to help her sister, a single mom, raise her kids. How fabulous. The quiet faithfulness of love like that. I know a lot of people that every day, whether they feel like it or not, they get up and they go to work so that their kids can have something to eat, so they can have something to eat, but their kids. Or the special needs parents that do everything they can and get up and are kind and patient and loving with their special needs kids. That's amazing, that quiet faithfulness. I think that's the stealth wealth of God's kingdom. We all know who the rock and the world's celebrities are. but I don't think they're God celebrities at all. When I was much younger, my mom and I had a chance to go to England, and we went to York Minster. And there's a cathedral there that is stunningly beautiful. But when we started talking to the people there, the stained glass is what everybody noticed. The rose window in the back of the room that cast all this colored light down onto the floor and on the pews. And at the center, the cathedral is like 18 stories tall. But they noticed some of the stained glass was cracking, which was concerning because it's so old. So they started digging down into the foundations of the cathedral. And they found a couple things. One of them is there was a stormwater management system the Romans had built like 2,000 years earlier that was still taking care of the city of York so it didn't flood. And also the foundations were shifting a little bit. So they strengthened those up in order to stop the glass from cracking. So often we pay attention to the glass, but it wouldn't be there without the foundation stones, just quietly there, doing their job, day in, day out, bearing the load. I mean, the world might not notice, but God does. And that takes a real solid person, I guess pun intended, to stand up to all that. Everybody notices the fancy glass window, but it wouldn't be there without the rock solid foundation stone quietly in the corner. Might be visible, might be buried below ground, protecting the city. You know, all those years. Who knew? God knows. So may we have the courage and strength to be faithful, to keep it together like that nail, you know? It takes a special kind of character to be faithful when no one's looking, to be consistent and constant. But God's building his life, his kingdom on people like that. Not the eclipse, spectacular woo-woo firework moments, but the everyday, the sun comes up, gravity works. We take care of other people, whether anybody notices or not, whether we get our 15 minutes of fame or not. I hope this blesses you. May we all have the courage and strength to be faithful, because God sees. And you're an everyday hero in his life, in his eyes. So, I hope this blesses you. All God's best.